Hi, it's Somia, and today we'll be talking about if statements and control flow in Python. So as of now, every program that we've written has only been really one outcome. There's only been one possible outcome, but one of the major ideas of programming is that many outcomes can occur based on the input that a program is given. So that's where control flow comes in. So based on a certain input or based on a certain value or piece of data, a certain outcome will occur. A different outcome will occur. So as said before, control flow is allowing different outcomes for different circumstances, and this is primarily done through if/elif/else statements. So essentially this would be like, if a certain condition is true, else if or elif a certain condition is true, do this, else do this. So here is the syntax for a basic if, elif, else statement. So basically what is happening here, it says if a certain Boolean expression, do this. So a Boolean expression is essentially something that can be evaluated to true or false. So if you had a variable, say a, and you wanted to make that 3, and you had a variable called b, and wanted to make that 4, if you were to say a is greater than b, that would be false. So this Boolean expression would be false. And if you wanted to say b is greater than a, that would be true. So this Boolean expression is true. So essentially, that's basically what a Boolean expression is. These can range from very basic, like these ones, to very complicated, and later on we'll probably touch on the more complicated ones. Okay, so an if statement, so basically it's saying if this expression is true, execute this segment of code. Else, so if it's not true, but this Boolean expression is true, execute this section of code. Else, if none of those two are true, then you want to execute this section of code. So let's look at an example to understand this a little bit better. So say you had a variable called isRaining, and isRaining is set to a Boolean value of true. So we're going to say if isRaining, so if this is true, if this evaluates to true, we're going to print it is raining. Else, we're going to print it is not raining. So let's look back at this variable here, and we see that the value of the isRaining variable is true. So when we go down to the if statements and we see if isRaining, we know that this value is true. So that means this section of code will be executed, which means that it will print out it is raining. But what if this variable was actually equal to false? Then when you start the if statement and see if is raining, we see that this value, it's actually equal to false. So this section of code would not be executed. Once we see that the if statement is false, we're going to go into the else statement. And then we're going to print it is not raining. So here's another example similar to the one we showed before for the Boolean expressions. So we have the integer variable a, which is equal to 3, and b, which is equal to 4. So these are variables here. And our first if statement, if a is equal to b, we're going to print a is equal to b. So let's look back at these values for a and b. A is 3 and b is 4. I think it's pretty obvious that a is not equal to b, so this statement is not going to be executed. Elif is if a is greater than b, then we're going to print a is greater than b. But when we look back at the values for a and b, we see that a is 3 and b is 4. And from this, I think we can figure out pretty easily that 3 is not greater than 4. So this statement will not be executed. So then we look at the next statement and we see that it is an else statement. So whatever it is, this is going to be executed, and b is greater than a is going to be printed.